The joint resolution is passed.
Congress approved legislation that would force the adoption of a tentative labor agreement, averting what could have been a massive rail strike involving about 115,000 workers. Unions and railroad carriers came to an agreement in September to avoid a strike, but 4 of the 12 rail unions rejected that contract, citing specifically a lack of paid sick days. But how can Congress intervene in private contract negotiations, forcing unions to accept a deal? Thanks to the Railway Labor Act, which was enacted in the 1920s, Congress has the authority to act to avoid any interruption to commerce or operation, which specifically includes the settlement of all disputes when it comes to things like pay and working conditions. Freight rail moves about 40% of U.S. long-distance cargo and delivers goods including coal, grain, and ethanol, and 3/4 of new cars and trucks bought in the U.S. are also moved by rail. Industry analysis shows that if a rail strike took place, the U.S. economy would risk losing more than $2 billion a day. President Biden, who has hailed himself as pro-labor, encouraged Congress to pass the legislation.
It's not an easy call, but I think we have to do it. The economy is at risk.
Members of Congress, however, are divided over the decision to intervene.
It's incumbent upon Congress to do everything that it can to protect these workers.
If you're passing a bill to force the rail workers to work, how strong is your economy?
This isn't the first time Congress has stepped in. They've done it 18 times. But not since the early 90s, when Congress and President George H.W. Bush passed legislation ordering workers back to their jobs, and then created mandatory arbitration, which has long alleviated Congress from getting involved. But this time, because that arbitration wasn't agreed on, Congress acted earlier, hampering workers' ability to go on strike and forcing the acceptance of the agreement, which will last until the end of 2024.